is the beautiful Woodcrest line. Good hit. We're
as is normal with many bike lanes, the pilot Dave Farrell. Lovely top-side pass now, you can see you, taking her away with something you can. Very strong and robust aircraft as well, able to withstand very high G limits and minus as well, just a pilot of course, and not just armed with those 0.5. Number 4, training mode, the stop format. Belgian three-seat trainer, a tour of biplane, designed and built by Stomp at Letonga, built under license in France, and also a little bit in French Algeria as well. Designed and built in the early 1930s, first model was the 4A. That was an advanced aerobatic trainer, followed by the 4B with redesigned wings, and fitted with the Havilland 50 major engine, giving it a lot more reliability. 25 weeks were made before the country was raised during the Second World War, but after that a further 65 were built as trainers for the Belgian Air Force. In all, well over 1,000 of these were made, and they're absolutely delightful machines to fly, lovely to watch. And during the course of this display, I have to say Richard Warder, who is the leader of this particular team, has put a very graceful display together. It's displayed at many places already this year, at Stowe Marys, that wonderful historic airfield, Midland Air Festival, and many other small villages, as well as popping over to France as well, and they've got several more to go before we get to the end of September. Some little connection upstairs here in our cabin. We've got an air traffic that's called Ian Rebel, who was just happened to do controls in it as well, taking his time from either seat. And a really, really versatile speed range, around 50 to 200 miles an hour. And able to take off and land at just 300 meters of cruising, however, it's around about 160 miles an hour. And what these two guys excellently do is carve beautiful shapes in the sky, wonderfully outlined by the smoke system. Of course, the smoke, not just aesthetics, it is actually a very, very important safety tool as well, and it helps you identify your wingman when you come out of particularly an inverted manoeuvre or one where you've broken in two different directions. It's a quickest way to pick up your partner before coming back into the next manoeuvre. We'll drop in and out of the cockpit in a moment just to hear Nigel giving the class, and of course, once again, they make it look simple, but it isn't. It takes years and years of practice, experience, hard work, and a real dedication to entertaining people around the whole of the country. We'll drop in and listen to some of the commands being issued, and it is on that very, very last end of the syllable cadence where the co-pilot has to put in exactly the same control input as the leader, and that is how they manage to synchronicity or their flying together into the smooth formation that you see being shown today. Again, very, very satisfying. They pull up now. You see John Dodge just touch only Nigel's aircraft. They put it into a little turn
seamless combination of a pitch roll and loop to change direction back along the crowd line. This is Richard's first year with the student display, and he's operating at a base height of 500 feet, except the final two classes at 2 meters. The approaching crowd senses to pull up for a lovely classic loop. At the top of the loop, he's going to be experiencing a total weightlessness, getting 0 G there, and as he comes back down, G-force has increased. He's smoothly manipulates the aircraft to ensure he levels out at exactly 500 feet. He's now going to conduct another classic aerobatic maneuver, the half horizontal. He goes. Unlike playing fast jets, the shooter requires careful energy management due to its low power to weight ratio. This is achieved through a careful design of the safety. Move the aircraft away when you're there with a quarter clover. We're not displaying which a qualified flying instructor with East Midlands University's Airforce based out of Royal Air Force Crowell. Now a full-time reserve officer, but he was previously a senior officer while in a regular service, serving his trial tour as officer command of 45 Squadron. Pulls up there for a stall turn and comes back out, running back towards us and completing a quarter clover to reposition back along the crowd line. During his 30-year career, he's amassed over 5,000 flying hours of 10 different aircraft types. As he rolls out, he's manoeuvring to complete a wing over, combines the pitching and rolling manoeuvre used to turn the aircraft through 180 degrees. You'll notice that every wing over for this display today is slightly different, and it's catered for different wind conditions and energy states. As he rolls out, he's going to pitch the nose up to start for a slow roll. Skillfully coordinating elevator, rudder and aileron input to make sure that lift vector is pointing outwards, preventing him from descending towards the ground. Cameras are ready folks as he goes up for another stall turn, this time from a slightly different angle. In his spare time, Richard's the military ski instructor and the mountain leader. Coming out of the stall turn, he's going to run back towards crowd centre for a variation of his quarter clover. You'll observe that he initially pulls up for the loop, there he goes, before rolling away from you. The tutor is operated by number 6 Flying Training School in partnership with Babcock International Group, primarily flying University Airborne students and RAF Air Cadets. Up he goes for another half Cuban to then fly back in towards us. There are 13 air experience flights across the UK that offer flights for 20,000 cadets every single year. He comes back in, barreling in towards us, he's going to pull up for a quarter clover into another wing over. The Air Cadets also offers 50 pilot scholarships per year on the tutor, with students following a syllabus akin to a private pilot's license. Highlight without a doubt being set first solo. The Air Cadets is also one of the largest providers of the Duke of Edinburgh award scheme and offers a range of other adventurous training activities. If you have any questions about Air Cadets, feel free to pop over to the Air Cadet stand or talk to our Duke Safety stand here today. As he comes out of the wing over, cameras are ready, he's going to go up for a 4-point roll. Delicately coordinating rudder, aileron and elevator to keep that nose firmly planted above the horizon. Making 3 double. Let's say by Chris Davies, alongside him Jamie Jackson, Al Bucket, and Andy in the front. Please welcome the Battle of Britain Memorial. Unusually now with 2 Spitfires, as the Hurricane was unavailable today.
Air Force historic site as it was first known, formed with three, what was it, essentially the leftover Tom flight Spitfire Mark 19. It's grown strength and strength for many, many years. The flight, of course, relies, although it has a full Dakota, or DAC as it was known in British parlance, the C-47 Dakota. Coming out of DAC, of course, coming out from the manufacturer itself, the Douglas Aircraft Corporation, without doubt one of the most successful aircraft designs in history. Became one of the world's most famous military transport aircraft and saw widespread use by the Allies during World War II, and subsequently by air forces and civilian operators around the world. Magnificent Spitfire, of course, the shape and sound have done already marked at the opening of our display this afternoon. It will manage, not necessarily the brainchild, of course, we've learned so much in recent years of the role of the likes of Shenstone and his prior work and diligence and involvement with the Heinkel production team in Germany before the war. The Spitfires were producing greater numbers than any other British combat aircraft before or since the war. Well over 20,000 Spitfires were built, with well over 20 different marks, and remained in production for 12 years. Spitfires fought in every operational theatre of the war and remained in Royal Air Force frontline service right up until 1954. It was an extraordinary legacy and an amazing development program, because by the end of the war the Spitfire carried an engine producing more than twice the power of the original. Its maximum takeoff weight and rate of climb had more than doubled. Firepower had increased by a factor of 5 and its maximum speed had been increased by a third. All essentially for the same airframe. Leading from the front in Tango Echo 311 in March 16. An aircraft built once again at Castle Bromwich with clipped wings, taken on charge in June 1945. Didn't get to operate, of course, from that date. The remainder of the Second World War, whilst it still had its days in the Far East. It was officially grounded effectively and used as a gate guard in the Royal Air Force tank, before being loaned to Spitfire Productions, using it to resemble the Mark I Spitfire for the famous film The Battle of Britain. Right on its tail, though, like Lieutenant Andrew Priest, a name who's been well known on the air display circuit for many, many years, came to the fore just an hour or so ago. He had a great pedigree. Initially trained as a navigator before then going on to fly the Tornado, and has spent many years now. And I think it will be a difficult transition for him when he eventually hands over the reins from his role as operations officer. Very much now one of the leading mentors of the warbird world, particularly for the Royal Air Force. The aircraft he flies today has flown 143 operational missions in a remarkable wartime history spanning almost 3 years on operation. just refer to it in the business, was delivered to 133 Squadron at Biggin Hill in June 1942 and flew 29 operations with this particular unit. It continued to fly operationally up until July 1944, having served with many other squadrons and numerous patrols, many of those over the D-Day invasion beaches on the 6th of June. They all have so many tales to tell, too much to talk about now whilst we just enjoy the sight and sound of these marvellous machines. But the Spitfire, of course, played a major part in achieving ultimate victory in World War II. Truly deserves its place as probably the most successful fighter design ever, and certainly is the most famous and charismatic of all time. As they switch roles now, coming in from the right to Dakota, to take over the skies as the Spitfires pass alongside. Into their final passing role. Remember the 2,304 pilots who flew in that Battle of Britain. 574 of them were not even British. Very sadly, 544 of them were killed just in that one campaign. The average age of the Spitfire pilot is just 22. The average life expectancy just 4 weeks. Dakota then manoeuvres back into crowd centre. Pilots prepare to rejoin the formation for its departure. It's a tactical transport aircraft. The Dakota was used to carry troops and freight, the airdropping of supplies and parachutes, for towing gliders, and for casualty evacuation. Its amazing ruggedness became legendary, and the demands of war and its capabilities were increasingly permitted to carry a payload more than double the original specifications. 28 fully equipped soldiers or parachutes. Seen here today in Southeast Asia command markings, conducted paradropping operations on the eve of D-Day in addition to missions to evacuate casualties and to resupply forces. When it's not in display mode as it is today, it's used as a training aircraft for the pilots who will go on to fly the Lancaster in future displays.
Do you like that?
Truly memorable sight, as I'm sure. One more chance to get an excellent departing photograph. My grateful thanks to Flight Lieutenant Ted Davies and to Flight Lieutenant Jamie Jackson. Former leader said, but I understand captain of the Dakota today is Jamie Jackson. And alongside them, Flight Lieutenant Sandy Priest and Al Luckins. Formation now for their final pass. We salute today's airmen, remembering the heroes of the past, and particularly the motto of their flight, lest we forget. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a wonderful airborne farewell as they wave off back to base to hopefully keep these venerable aircraft in our sights for many, many decades to come. If you look way out to sea, right in front of you, you'll see it. There you go. And here's a little interesting cheese we're majestic sign of an aircraft built developed in the mid-60s, the Western Wall. Operator. This particular wasp is not the one out of the normal failures or maybe wings, but it was actually one that belongs to a private owner. Well, the maybe wings example goes to some successful maintenance. Maybe wings like the DDMS and the Army's destroyed by doing their very best to keep venerable aircraft flying, to recognise the exploits and achievements of their forefathers through military campaigns around the globe. Now operating as a charity, previously known as the Navy's Destroyed Flight, now operating under the title of the Navy's Heritage Flight. Their aim to inspire future generations to remember the service and sacrifice of those involved with naval flying and promote a deeper understanding of the important part played by the Royal Naval Air Service and the Fleet Air Force. You can see it's pretty agile, which is used in these. And you see the difference between that and what you may well regard as more familiar, the Army Air Corps Scout. This one's not real, and that of course is all about being able to maneuver it around the depth of a heaving and rolling ship out of the ocean. And the owner of this wasp is here with us today, and we'd just like to very much thank him for his support in helping Navy-Wings out on this occasion, and indeed giving you the pleasure of seeing the venerable machine as well. Painted in the colours for a very large ship, HMS Arethusa. It's an important part in representing the Fleet Air Arms activity, because in many ways it transforms away combat aircraft from the Royal Navy. Of course, they've already deployed a lot of fixing aircraft on aircraft carriers. Of course, the advent of the helicopter enabled them to operate off a much smaller helicopter back end of a naval frigate and destroyer. 5-seat aircraft, multi-role, medium-range anti-submarine torpedo carrying helicopter. The wine from that Rolls-Royce Nimbus producing just over 1,000 sharp horsepower. Standard speed or fast speed, usually around about 120 miles an hour.
The Royal Navy Black Cat. At 9 pounds feet left, we've got Lieutenant Tony Mendon. One of the observers. Ollie joined the Royal Navy in 2012 as a non-graduate, both short career, and then successfully passed the design of entertainment. Initially commissioning as a warfare officer at the beginning of his career driving water after the watch, prior to being selected for reserve training. On receiving his wings in July of 2021, he went on to deploy to the Mediterranean, Far East, and High North, a variety of Royal Navy vessels with 8-5-day left. The essential plan is 85 or 5 further structure, is capable of carrying 2 different types of missiles on western wings that can be fitted. These are Martha, a laser-guided missile system, Venom, guided anti-shipping missile. Together with the aircraft mitigated essentially, they provide a potent maritime strike capability, delivering lethality to Royal Navy ships at sea. As well as those 2 missiles, we can also fit guns on the side of the helicopter, enabling us to shoot at full target when conducting counter-narcotics operations. A.C.E Naval Air Squadron was commissioned in October 2014 and is part of the Maritime Aviation Strike based at the Eastbourne in Sussex. They're responsible for training all Wildcat pilots and observers and looking after the flights on board Royal Navy frigates and destroyers around the world. The Wildcat Maritime Force comprises A.C.E Naval Air Squadron, A.1.5 Naval Air Squadron, Wildcat simulators, and the headquarters element. Between them, they ensure that the aircrew, engineers, aircraft, and supporting equipment are ready to support the Royal Navy both at home and anywhere in the world. The Royal Navy Wildcat was deployed to Cyprus, strengthen air defense in the region. Equipped with smarter missiles, aircraft flight, valuable anti-drone capabilities, tested the island. Smarter missile, originally designed as anti-surface missile, has proven its capability to take down war drones. You may sense the similarity the Wildcat has with the Lynx helicopter. The Wildcat replaced the Lynx Marquette, giving it more powerful engines that allow it to be flown in extreme weather conditions all year round. These engines enable it to lift up to 1 ton the aircraft top speeds of 60 knots. Maintainer with 815 naval air projects, including a deployment to the United Arab Emirates, supporting shipping through the Strait of Hormuz and conducting counter-narcotics operations. So now from the left, we see black caps come from their final path. So everyone gives them a nice wave as they head down
Well done, Roland. Very good to meet you today. I hope you'll see a bit more of you during the course of the weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Well, good to see it. So, from 1952 onwards and operated by other international air forces as well. Went on to be licensed built in China as the J5 and in Poland, as I've just mentioned, the 6. Referenced frequently as an advanced modification of the MiG-15, something that you have seen here before, but hasn't been across here from Norway for a couple of years now. Produced by the Soviets during the Korean War, but too late for use in that. First being used in conflict in the Taiwan Strait crisis of 1958. Designed initially to shoot down slower American bombers, it shows the bright success. And used by the North Vietnamese pilots to combat American fighters and fighter bombers during the Vietnam War. I'm delighted to say that as we're operating the Seaside Show as well, the pilot and aircraft get a little bit more manoeuvrability, an opportunity to display its roll rate as well, as there are still restrictions on swept-wing jets around the United Kingdom over land. Looks absolutely magnificent, doesn't it? It's usually presented